everybody. My name is Myung Moon and welcome to iHome Church. For those of you joining us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our email list. Well, this last week has been an incredibly busy week for all of us. Starting off with the second anniversary of True Father Seung in Korea. It was, I'm sure, as it was for me, a very poignant moment for all of us. And, Father truly left a wonderful legacy behind. And I cannot help but feel that even from spirit world, Father is really shining down on all his children, hoping that the legacy of love that he showed to all of us will be continued in our lifetime and in our children's lifetime. Because as he always said to the children, he said the highest purpose in our life is to leave a legacy of love, and he has certainly done that with his life. But when I think about these anniversaries and anniversaries of Seung in particular, and I also had the occasion to celebrate my birthday, and for me birthdays aren't really about me, but it's really a time when I need to give thanks to God and my parents, true parents, and take some time off to really reflect on what my life means to me. And a birthday is a great time to remind ourselves of our entrance into the world, and also a wonderful time to reflect on our exit. In the East, we say that there are three most important moments in a person's life: their birth, their marriage, and their death. And certainly when it comes to birth and death, we have very little control over how or what day or what year we're going to come into the world, and many times it's a big question mark as to when we will leave. But the time that we have in between our entrance and our exit is something that we can truly make beautiful with our own responsibility, taking responsibility for our lives and taking responsibility for our decisions, and really owning everything that the life affords us in terms of opportunity. And so it made me think about my father and about his legacy of love. And one of the most incredible examples when it comes to his legacy of love is really showing us how to embrace or how to love an enemy or a very, very difficult relationships. And for those of us who have lived life and are in the throes of living life, we know that in every situation, in every organization, in every levels of society that we may encounter, or even within the context of our own family, we do experience difficult relationships. And many times these difficult relationships can seem to us as if this person becomes our enemy. Well, then how do we deal with this person, or how do we deal with this incredibly difficult relationship and really practice loving this person like the way our true Father has shown us throughout his life, of loving, quote-unquote, our enemy time and time again? Well, one of the things that I realize in the course of my life that it's really important to keep in mind is when we want to take the steps to loving our enemy or a very, very difficult relationship, is to remind ourselves of the first point, which is learning how to bless. Bless the past. And when I say learning how to bless the past, in many instances, we are stuck in a very, very difficult relationship because we certainly cannot let go of what took place. And we are kind of stuck in terms of blaming the other. Well, you did this to me. And the other is blaming us, saying, well, you did this to me. And we keep on continuing in this eternal finger pointing and blaming, and there's just no way out of that situation. But what I have seen that my father does time and time again is, he lets the past be the past. Whatever you've done in the past, if we want to make progress, start from today. But not just start from today on a negative note or with really bad feeling. It's certainly not enough to just simply embrace the past, because many times we're embracing a whole cloud of misery and a whole cloud of confusion and a whole cloud of misunderstanding and hurt and pain. But when we decide to bless the past, we let the past go and we say we're going to let it lie. And yes, we've learned a great deal from having gone through the experience that we have had, but whatever we have gone through makes us today what we are. So today we can decide to let go of the past by simply not just allowing ourselves to embrace it, but to really say that we can bless the past so that we can move on in our present life and on to the future. And, I always remind myself that many times the difficulties in relationships or the pain, or many times we may feel like in the course of us having a relationship with a particular person, our relationships suffered a major setback because that person caused us so much pain or we caused them so much pain. But it's always important to remember that many times setbacks are just the preparation in order for us to enjoy a more profound, a more wonderful comeback. And so we always have to have a mind to the future of where we are going, and not only where we have been or not only where we are now. And so again, not just embracing the past, not just letting go, but actually being in a artistic position where we can bless the past, affords us this incredible opportunity to stand in the present and work on what we need to be doing now, which leads us to the second point. After we can bless the past, we can learn how to enjoy the present, or what I call learning how to enjoy the present workout. When you are, or when I am in a difficult relationship, it certainly feels like a workout, a really intense workout at the gym. But it's important for us to remember that we go to the gym to work on our flexibility, and we work on our stretching, our ability to stretch and be flexible. That's what we want when we have a great workout. We are certainly not going to the gym because we are working on our rigidity. So just as sometimes an intense workout can be incredibly painful, it's important to remind ourselves, no pain, no gain. If you want that muscle mass that you've seen in magazines or that you want, that your coach already has, you realize that wonderful physical form that your coach or mentor might have and is helping you through the process has gotten to that point in his life or her life because they've worked at it. They've sweated over it. They suffered a great deal. But the great thing about kind of remembering that many times, things in life are kind of like a workout at the gym, because, if we realize that as painful and as difficult as that workout can be, we're not working out at the gym for the sole purpose of experiencing pain. we are working out so we can be healthier, we can look better, we can feel better about ourselves and be more confident in all our relationships with the people that we love. And so we realized that we are there working at the gym, each day and each night. And many times I know some people who work out around the clock. And they do so because they want a good result in their life. They're working towards being able to stretch, being able to be flexible. And in life, we realize that as we get older and as we experience marriage and family life and have children, we do like a certain framework that we want to operate in. But that framework also needs to be flexible and needs to stretch sometimes in order to accommodate all the things that are taking place in the context of a family or in the context of a particular relationship. And in so doing, we grow and we deepen and we stretch our boundaries and grow in wisdom over the years. And so if we can not just anticipate our workout and do our best in terms of putting in the effort, but actually learn how to enjoy the process so that we can say to ourselves, yeah, it's going to be tough, no pain, no gain, but that gain will be within our hands if we keep on doing it, if we keep on making it our daily habit. And instead of, basically saying, oh my goodness, it's just too difficult, or I don't look forward to it, if we can somehow motivate ourselves or inspire ourselves to actually learn how to enjoy it, then it can become an incredibly empowering time for us, because we know that through the workout, through the stretching, and through the practice of learning how to be flexible, we can have more of a handle on our life. Because ultimately, we want to bless the past and we want to be able to enjoy the present workout, because we want to be able to own our future. Meaning create the kind of a life that we want to have in our life. And so when we talk about owning our future, it's important to kind of keep in mind that, this little fact that somebody told me. Did you know that in order to smile, you only need 4 muscles on your face to smile beautifully to the person that you care about? But did you know that in order to frown, it takes 10 times 4 and then some? It takes 42 muscles on your face to frown or to be angry or to create this incredibly tense look on your face. So what the body is teaching us is that it takes a great deal of effort to be disgruntled, to be angry, to be unhappy. In fact, it's much more natural, it's much easier to be happy and to smile. And if you really think about it, when you really hate somebody, or when I hate somebody, it takes a great deal of effort to sustain that hatred time and time again. That's why when we look at many, many people who are just engulfed in hate, engulfed in being angry or dissatisfied or disgruntled with their lives, many times it's just overtaxing the body and their health fails. They start developing illnesses that are unexplainable, and they look worn out much sooner than they should. And it's our body's way of saying, hey, it's not good to be frowning all the time. It's not healthy to be frowning all the time, to be angry, to be disgruntled, to be complaining all the time. And so we realize how incredibly important it is to have a positive disposition in our lives. And so in the context of a relationship, when we think about a negative or difficult relationship, we think about words like, when you are angry at somebody, you want to attack them. You might feel bursts of feeling violent towards them. You might struggle so much with the thoughts of them. And you realize that when you want to express something to the person that you're having a great deal of difficulty with, maybe you end up dictating more than expressing or sharing, or maybe you might be commanding or just saying outrageous things. And when I think about these words, dictating, struggle, violence, attack, it reminds me of this a quote by Lao Tzu. He was a Chinese philosopher, and he was sharing about his wisdom in the mastery of men. And of course, he was talking about in the art of war. If you want to succeed in war, you have to be mastery of men. And these were his recommendations. He said, "The best soldier does not attack. The superior fighter succeeds without violence. The greatest conqueror wins without a struggle. The most successful manager leads without dictating. This is called intelligent non-aggressiveness. This is called mastery of men." Now, Lao Tzu was talking about the art of war and how to master the art of war by becoming a master of yourself. But the incredible thing about my father, the Reverend Myung Moon, was he was not talking about how to be successful in war, but he was really teaching us how to be successful in life by becoming a master of love. How do you gain mastery of love in difficult relationship where you perceive the other as your enemy? Well, one of the things that our true Father has taught us over and over again is that the key to understanding how God feels towards us as his children is in unlocking this thing called parental love. God loves us through a parent's eyes, like our father and mother. And so his love towards his children is absolute, it's unchanging, it's eternal, and it's unique. And that every child is that special child, handcrafted by God. And you realize when you think about God in that way, that every time God looks at you and me, you who might be my enemy, or me, myself, God looks at each and every one of us as his child, as his children. He looks at me as his child. He looks at the other person that I might be having a great deal of difficulty with as his child. In other words, we realize that the key to really overcoming and developing a loving relationship with somebody starts with the ability or the decision to look at the other as if they are, for those of us who have children and have experienced parental love, as if the other person that we're having a great deal of difficulty with, or that we might even use the word enemy. Try taking that beautiful face of your child and putting it on the person in your mind, visually, conceptually, putting it on the face of the person that you are having the most difficult time with. So you might actually hate this Mr. B. You might despise this Mr. B. You might absolutely want to do Mr. B harm. But if you have a child, take that beautiful child's face and put it on Mr. B. Will your anger towards Mr. B be the same? Or will it somehow change because the beauty of your child, when you look at that person and you're looking at the face of your child, you see nothing but love. And you realize that if you do this on a daily basis, and just like anything else, just like a great workout, it takes effort, it takes practice, it takes, daily working at it. But if we can somehow learn to see the other, the one that we're having extremely difficult relationships with, within the context of a family, within the context of society, within the context of a nation, within the context of the world, it might be the other nation that we might be having a great deal of difficulty with. But if we realize that we all belong to one family under God, that God is our heavenly parent, and that the other is a member of our family, and if we can learn to really see the other country or the other society or the other community as a member of our family by visualizing our children's face in place of that person, society, community, or nation, you realize that your feeling or my feeling immediately starts to change. Because when your child is looking back at you as the perceived enemy or the perceived difficult person, you realize that you cannot hold on to the same kind of hatred or the same kind of disgruntlement or the same kind of feelings of despising the other person when your child is looking right back at you. So when I look at my father's life, and he has never really clearly delineated that if you want to love your enemy, you need to bless the past, you need to enjoy the present, you need to own your future in the way that I just shared with you. But when I look at his life example, and when I look at the way he related to these difficult people in his life, he is doing exactly this. No matter how difficult the person may have been to my father, he never holds them petrified in it. He lets it go. He takes them back as if, he is a long lost father aching to see his child. He blesses the day that the child comes back into his life. He blesses the past. And he thoroughly enjoys the time that he has with this person, even though this person may give my father incredible difficulty. He learns to enjoy the workout. He enjoys the process of being stretched. He enjoys the process of being growing flexible because of that person. And sometimes the most difficult people in our lives can make us the most wise, or help us to be most profound, and help us sometimes to be an incredibly successful person in life. Sometimes it takes that little thorn on the side to really get us going. And so if we can actually enjoy the process, the going will be much more enjoyable. And in so doing, we can own the future or the destiny of our life, because we realize that we are not here, or we have not been given this life just to be the mastery of men, which Lao Tzu was saying will yield you great success in the art of war. We are not here to engage in war. That is not the purpose why we're here. We are not here to engage in constant war between our spouses, between our parent and child, but in the context of families, in the context of our society, community, nation, and world. That is not the purpose why we are born. The reason why we are born is that our Heavenly Parent wants us to really kind of celebrate life, by living a life of gratitude and really appreciating the gift of the blessing that Heavenly Father bestows on each and every one of us through our true parents. And to really enjoy the process of growing and substantiating these ideal families, and in so doing become an incredible men and women of God, incredibly wise men and women of God, and basically, experience how to master love, and not just the mastery of men that Lao Tzu was talking about. So when I think about my father and when I think about my mother and true parents, what they bring to all of us is really this example of love. And our father, even though he ascended 2 years ago, is more present than ever with us. I feel him each and every day. And I know that many of you also feel him in your lives as well. And so if we can continue to honor his legacy by creating a legacy of love when we exit our lives and join our true Father and our Heavenly Parents in the afterlife, then we can say that that we have lived our lives well. And so just as in the Asian tradition, we say it's good to be born well, it's good to marry well, it's good to pass on to the next life well. But we realize that when we can invite God into our lives, and when we understand the purpose of why we are here, to really just, God giving us a chance to experience parental love through this beautiful thing called the blessing that true parents bring to all of us, then we realize that we have so much to be grateful for. And we realize that all the different workouts that we go through in our lives is just a means to stretch and to allow us to grow more flexibly as a person, and to really be that kind of a person that owns the horns of their own destiny. So please, on this day, it's a wonderful time to kind of remember the best of our true Father and look forward to the best of you to come. And I certainly look forward to all the wonderful things that you will accomplish in your life. And I pray and hope that not only will you be successful in life, but that you can accomplish mastery of love, just like the way our true Father has. So with that in mind, I bid you a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And thank you so much for all the happy birthday messages. And I really totally feel loved bombed by all of you. And it will probably take me a couple days to thank all of you properly. But please know that I am extremely grateful for the love that you have shown. And most of all, I would like to thank my wonderful husband for just being such an incredible support through all our efforts here at iHome Church. So thank you, sweetie, and have a great, great day. Take care.
There's only one road in and out of my heart. I don't know where it ends or where it starts, but the night is young, younger than we. So let's burn right and wrong, and I forgive you. You forgive me too. Take it on faith that I'll be there when the pain comes. take it on faith that I'll try and try not to run when it's hard. I can be on fire, I can hold my own. Inside I'm just a little boy who's scared to be alone. Today was hard, tomorrow is new. If you're there for me, I'll be there for you. I will see us through. Take it on faith that you'll be there when the pain comes. Take it on faith that you'll try and try not to run when it's hard.
If you have any questions and comments, please leave them below the video or go to myungmoon.com and use the contact form. And don't forget to subscribe to our email list. Take care.